Greetings. Welcome to ITR Live. I'm your host, Chris Hagenow, and we are back here in the Hendrickson Library at the Center for the Preservation of Western Civilization. I'm joined here today in studio by John Hendrickson. Welcome. You ready to do this?
I am, yeah.
We got a lot going on today.
Yes, yeah.
I want the folks to be ready that this could be a wild ride today.
Yes, yeah.
So,
yep.
Good. Well, actually, what's unique about today is we actually had a full, our in-house production assistant was here today.
Yes.
Who helped us get set up, press record on the camera and then left. So great.
Yeah.
It's that's the kind of the technical work we. No, I shouldn't joke about that. We get a lot of good help from our production assistant. Okay, we're gonna bounce around a lot today, John. We got a lot to cover. Some of it's just housekeeping. Some quick hitter things just to let the folks know, what's going on across Iowa. But the first one is one that I'm really happy to talk about, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday in the office. But the ITR Foundation poll, John, and I think you were the first one. What is the ITR Foundation poll?
It is the gold standard.
It is the gold standard.
Yes, yeah.
In Iowa political polling.
Yes, yeah.
This is not something new. It has been for a while. Once again, we have confirmation that the ITR Foundation poll is the gold standard. Our pollster is Signal, is a national polling firm that now for 3 consecutive cycles has been one of the highest rated pollsters by Nate Silver. And if you're not familiar, Nate Silver is actually a Democrat who used to run 538.com, but does a lot of polling, aggregating, and analysis. He had his big post-election review of the quality of pollsters, and Signal was again an A-rated pollster. So, and look, the results speak for themselves. Our numbers have been very good over the past several cycles. We were picking up things that, and this is going to come in as a shock, John. I know it's a shock to you, and it's a shock to our listeners. We were right, and the Des Moines Register and Ann Selzer were wrong. And this is not the first time. I think it might be the last.
Yes, yeah. Yep.
But again, ITR Foundation polls the gold standard. So with that having been said, we got an announcement. We'll soon be releasing the next ITR Foundation poll in Iowa.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so it's going to be our first look at some of the trends leading in to the midterms. I don't know exactly what issues we're going to test on there. But again, another look at some of the issues that we've been talking about, specifically on property taxes, maybe on some of these constitutional amendments, which you've written about lately. So for those folks like me, all 3 or 4 of you that are junkies for horse race politics, we're going to have some new stuff for you real soon. Next issue, we saw this and we talked about this morning in the pre-production meeting, John. But article in the Des Moines Register, here's the headline. Nationwide President's Day protest against Trump and DOGE draws Iowans to the state capitol. So did you take a look at this?
I did, yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Apparently this was something called a 50-51 movement. 50 states, 50 protests one day. Last time they were at the Capitol, 5 people, February 5th, 3 arrested at the Capitol, including 2 organizers. What do you think about this? Are these folks moving the needle, or how is this being received by everyday Iowans?
I would say it's not moving the needle. I mean, this is, I would say, the extreme left that's doing this. They're denouncing the efforts of DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk, and so but in the Register article, they had people there that were there for different reasons. Some were there to protest DOGE, and others were there for some other reasons. And then I've got the article that was in the Cedar Rapids Gazette in front of me, and this one referred to that they were focusing on. They were fed up with the cuts to diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) programs, and I just don't think that's front and center on most Iowans' agenda right now. Is trying to preserve DEI or or even USAID programs. And,
Right.
Uh,
I think it's exactly right. And one thing the only thing that because I think about political messaging and what are they trying to say? The only thing that I get out of this is anti-Trump. And not even on a specific issue. They just don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the issues that are coming out of this article and the things they talk about are all over the place. So there's a DEI. They're upset that taxpayer money or whatever, that's not going to DEI anymore. But, we've got someone here from, I don't know where, Garner, held up the pro-America anti-Trump flag. Here's his quote. "I don't agree with the way Trump has bullied people to follow him. And all these people upstairs here scared. He must have been down in the basement because they want to maintain their seat. It's not just here, it's in Washington. The people who are staying silent because they were constituents to keep voting for them." I'll tell you what, I probably talk to more Republican legislators than this gentleman does.
Yeah.
I probably have a little bit better sense for what's actually motivating them. I'm here to tell you that if anything, they're in there cheering. They are the ones that aren't doing it because they're trying to show off for Trump supporters. They're doing it because they think this stuff is wonderful.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
They are giggling. They are cheering this on. They are celebrating that the president's portrait's hanging up in the House chamber, which they just recently hung the new portrait up there. This isn't any kind of fear because this is a whole lot of winning. And the folks that I know absolutely get that. Here's another one that I think is really kind of weird. So this gentleman was just about he thinks Trump's a bully. Another protester from Des Moines said she joined the rally to protest new legislation, House File 274, that would remove children's access to inappropriate material from libraries and educational institutions. The bill follows legislation, so this is the next step in a previous bill, to remove books containing sex acts. So she is going to come to the Capitol with a bunch of folks that are yelling and screaming because she wants books containing sex acts to continue to be available in our kids' libraries.
Yeah,
that's the protest point.
Yeah, this is the extreme left.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not what Iowans want. I mean, this is not what the majority of Iowans want, and I think this is you're absolutely right. Yeah. This is one people who are just upset that Trump's there, and it's the radical left.
Yeah. It's our privacy, our democracy, our liberty is at stake. Let's talk about these great books.
Yeah.
Okay. Great books with graphic depiction of sex acts. And then that's the point at which you want to fight for liberty. It's not about, free speech or some other constitutional right. You want to fight over giving porn to kids in our school libraries.
Yeah.
And that's what motivates you to come to the Capitol.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that comes back full point to one of the organizers that said, seeing how the majority of lawmakers are Republicans, they laugh at us, but they won't be laughing for long. I actually agree with that. I think she nailed it. I think there's a lot of folks up there that are laughing at you because of the things you're fighting on that are so far removed from what everyday Iowans are talking about and what their values are and what they want done out of government. They want government to protect their children from this garbage. They want government to honor the taxpayer and not spend it on all of this nonsense. And they're not afraid of Donald Trump. They are cheering on Elon Musk and Donald Trump and for Governor Reynolds for trying to do the same thing at the state level.
Yeah. Yeah. This whole election was about rejecting this cultural revolution, this woke revolution that was going on. It was not to advance this.
Yeah.
And I noticed too that in this Cedar Rapids article that Senator Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont, is coming to Iowa, and he's on a national tour. It's called Fighting Oligarchy, Where We Go From Here, and he's going to be in Iowa City. So,
are you going? Did you register?
No.
All right. Well, we'll cover your expenses if you want to head over there, John.
Yeah, I'm sure some of these folks will be there, though.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm going to take a break to go see See, Comrade
But
Sanders.
fighting oligarchy. Where we go from here?
Yeah, it's just, come on. Well, speaking, I kind of transition there, talking about a little bit about the state capitol and the governor. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, John, but in the news, a couple different articles that we talked about is former state representative Brad Sherman, who served one term in the House, announced that he's running for governor, ostensibly against Governor Reynolds. And, in the Abe's Tribune, you found this, asked if she was seeking re-election at a news conference at the Capitol. Reynolds said, "Stay tuned. There might be some news coming, just not today." Everyone I talk to is under the impression that Governor Reynolds plans to run for re-election. I know you and I both are very much hope that she runs for re-election.
Yes, yeah.
We've gotten any number of conservative victories under her leadership. So, long may it continue. Thoughts on any of this?
Well, I mean, from what I read this morning in the original Register article about Sherman, he's trying to run to the right of Governor Reynolds, and I think he's going to have a hard time doing that because I think a lot of Iowans are not necessarily going to buy into that because what they're going to see is Governor Reynolds has stood up for the taxpayer. I mean, I saw a map today, Chris, so it was pretty impressive. I saw the Tax Foundation put out the 2025 this year's tax rates.
Yeah.
And ours was 3.8, and then also going back to 2018, 8.98. That's a significant drop under Governor Reynolds. And then so she's done a lot for taxpayers. But even going back what we were just talking about here on the cultural side, she has really fought for, I think the values that Iowans hold and protecting those values. And I think Iowans appreciate that. And we have seen, based on several election cycles, Iowans support her and the Republican legislature. And so I don't know how you can run to the right of her because she certainly has, she's fought for life. She's fought for the Second Amendment. She's fought for the taxpayer. She's fighting to protect traditional values. I mean, she's fighting for, what the president said, common sense.
Here's what I know. No other state in the union in my lifetime has had a bigger record of conservative victories than the state of Iowa has over the last several years.
Yeah.
If that's not good enough, well, okay, that's an argument. I just don't know how well it's going to resonate.
Yeah. I mean,
whether it's the like you said on tax policy, huge shift, and the state is more prosperous for it. And all of the other list of reforms, let's not forget, educational savings accounts are only in place in the state of Iowa because of the leadership of Kim Reynolds.
That's right, yeah.
Judicial nominating reform. We are able to sustain these victories because we have this governor has been able to put good, honest constitutionalists on the Supreme Court, on and on and on. Here's where I don't know. Maybe I just want to talk about everything good that we've done here, but Kim Reynolds is going to run for re-election. She's going to win any primary that she might have by a very wide margin, and she's going to comfortably win re-election to another term in the fall of 2026. That those things are just going to happen. We're going to have to fight for them and work for them, but I mean, it seems to be some of this, and I think that's shown up in some of the polling data, is that I think there are still some very strong supporters of President Trump that were with him in the primary that are still frustrated or because Governor Reynolds was with Ron DeSantis. I think there's some carryover, and I think even Brad Sherman even kind of alludes to that. But President Trump is not going to endorse somebody else in a effort to get 20 or 30% against Kim Reynolds. I mean, come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I'd rather just get on board for getting more wins. How about we just do that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
I said we were going to fly through this rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we got here? You've had a couple of really good articles out lately that actually have to do with tax policy.
Yes. Yeah.
What you had one on some property tax things and the need for reform, and then on the constitutional amendments. Is that right?
So one appeared. It was in Sunday's Cedar Rapids Gazette, and it was basically on the topic of it was called tax incentives or tax freedom, and it basically focused on, what is the best way to look at long-term economic growth, and we hear that a lot, at the local level, because everyone's talking about how do we grow economies at the local level, and constantly we're seeing cities handing out all kinds of incentives for various development deals. And so what we argued in this article was basically that these incentive deals always look good at first, but they seldom oftentimes deliver what they promise, and that's what a lot of studies have shown of this. And so what we argue is basically that for long-term economic growth and even short-term, it's in the interest of Iowa cities to lower property taxes, because the evidence is just there that high tax rates, whether it's income taxes or sales taxes, property taxes, that discourages incentives. It discourages certain behaviors, and it drives people and businesses away. And so, if you want growth, you got to get that property tax burden down.
Rather than picking winners and losers and trying to engineer some kind of growth, how about we just make it better for everybody?
Yeah.
And I think that extends too, and I don't want to take too much of a detour from that, but you see this sometimes of the engineering inside of the tax code itself at the state level.
Yeah.
As you're trying to play favorites with either credits or tax deductions, trying to score points instead of just creating a lower and flatter tax for everybody. And if there are dollars that we can devote towards tax relief, then let's just spread that out and everybody benefits, not a preferred group of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that's a great point. And we're, we do a lot of banging on local governments, but it sometimes happens at the state level too. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the second one was a piece, and it was done with our senior tax fellow Tom Sands helped me with it, and
I like saying senior.
Yes,
tax fellow.
Our senior tax fellow, and it was on the two important issues that we really are hoping will advance, and those are the taxpayer protection amendments that were passed last session that we hope will surface this time. And that the first one was the an amendment that would require a 2/3 majority of both houses of the legislature to approve an income tax increase. And then the second one would constitutionally protect the flat tax. And we think that both of those are essential and important taxpayer protection. So in this article, we kind of discuss why those are important and why they should move forward. So those are there was a lot of discussion last year about the 2/3 being an extreme idea, and it isn't. There's a lot of states that actually have this already, so it's not something that's extreme at all. And even a liberal state like California has a supermajority requirement.
They just happen to have a super majority of.
That's right. Yeah, of liberals. Yeah.
But a couple of thoughts on this, John. We've talked about this before, but the ITR Foundation poll has tested these ideas and found that Iowans support these things, especially the 2/3 majority. If memory serves, that was almost a 70% issue.
It was, yes, yeah.
And then the flat tax had a bigger share of undecideds. It was a plurality, but very few Iowans disapprove of these ideas. that they want these sort of taxpayer protections. And I will say this, because we get a fair number of legislators or folks on the inside listening. I've heard it said that these may be pushed off until next year to pass. And from a technical standpoint, it doesn't matter whether these amendments would pass in 2025 or 2026, because either way, they would then go on the ballot in the fall of 2026, because they have to pass 2 consecutive General Assemblies and then go on the ballot. However, it would be helpful if these passed this year, because they will be ballot questions. And if these don't pass until next April, well, that cuts the window of time pretty short to organize an effort to encourage people to vote yes.
Yes. Yep.
And so, anyway, I hope both of them pass soon. But those are winning issues that the legislature can pick up for Iowans, and would be great protections. If with a 2/3 majority, if there's a very compelling reason that has to be done, well, then go find 2/3 of the legislature to vote for it. And if you really need to do it, well, the burden should be high.
It should
to raise taxes.
Yeah, absolutely,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good too, John. I just want to remind people that there's a lot of really good stuff at ITR Foundation if they want to read more of your work, and from our senior tax fellow.
Yes, yeah.
Tom Sands.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And look, that's no joke. We rely on Tom a lot when we just want to kick around ideas. New things come out. Hey, what do you think about this? Tom, we had him on the podcast recently, but he has just a ton of knowledge on these issues. Okay, I'm going to close. Do you have anything else before I close?
I just want to bring one thing up. This was a poll that was a national poll done, and I thought it was interesting because the headline was poll finds U.S. spends too much money, and so it basically
news.
Yeah. And so we're facing a $36 trillion national debt and massive deficits. And so basically it said 6 in 10 U.S. adults believe the government is spending too much overall. With that said, though, they did say that they believe that, and this is no surprise, that Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, education, and border security deserve more spending, those areas in this poll. But then they said that areas like foreign aid need to be cut.
Well,
and so there's I think there's and that I think that's sort of a reflection of where a lot of Americans are, because and I always like to call this the New Deal dilemma, because those entitlement programs are pretty much there.
Yeah. You don't undo them.
And the other thing I thought was what stood out in this poll to me was border security. Yeah. Because again, that is where Americans realize that something has to be done. They realize that the situation at the border has to be addressed. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, I think too, a lot of these things at the federal level that you're seeing, whether they're through Elon Musk and DOGE and whatever, they're majority positions. In fact, you're seeing public approval on these issues being stronger than it was even during the campaign.
Yes, yeah.
Some of what has been revealed about our foreign aid budget has shocked.
Yeah.
Not even conservatives. I mean, just everyday Americans.
Yeah.
That they don't want their dollars going there. And so I think those poll numbers all make sense to me. But what folks really don't want is their tax money wasted.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we're finding out that maybe we've got some Social Security dollars that are going to folks that shouldn't be getting them, or to, folks that maybe died years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, even if you want a robust Social Security program, I think folks just want to make sure that the right people are getting the right amount, not something else. So that's where I think that criticize Trump, criticize Elon Musk, but the effort to root out fraud, find more efficiencies in these systems, I don't know how those aren't supported by wide majorities of Americans. And why is it you see so much in the media about, look, the one here in Iowa was this national park
Yes,
ranger that
yeah.
lost his job. And
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that specific example, but John, anybody from your hometown ever lose their job because of a changing economy?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and how? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, when the steel industry suffers, it's terrible.
People losing jobs at an individual level is not pleasant.
Look at John Deere here in Iowa. Folks that have been
It's
laid
hard
off.
and it's difficult, but that's what happens in a changing economy.
Yep.
Sometimes you can avoid it, sometimes you can't. But the federal government and our tax dollars is not a jobs program. You know, if anything, those dollars need to be repurposed into growing our economy.
That's right.
And I am not unsympathetic to somebody losing a job that they were good at, that they loved. But those are taxpayer dollars. And we have to slow down the spending at the federal level. It's unsustainable. It's been unsustainable, but the rate at which it's growing is exponential, and it's dangerous. And yes, it means that the federal workforce is going to have to shrink.
Yeah. If this is painful now, just wait till when they absolutely have to make cuts, when it's forced upon.
Right. What happens when
the Culver style 10% across the board cuts, and that's even going to be even worse at the federal level.
That's right. That's right.
You know, as they say, when the chickens come home.
I agree. Okay, I do want to close on this, John. We spend a lot of time, I have on this show, of criticizing local governments for spending decisions and things they do. So I'm going to change gears today. I am actually going to say something that happened in a local government that I like. I mean this. So I'm going to start on, okay?
Yeah.
And I think you probably saw this because this is actually, I think it was on KCCI last night. The city of Windsor Heights.
Oh, I did not see this.
I lived in Windsor Heights for many years. I don't know how many. It wasn't quite 20, but it was a long time. And, had disagreements with the city on several things. I think people in Windsor Heights, that's just sort of the civic culture, is to disagree on things in Windsor Heights sometimes. But this was something the city was doing. They are putting in a safe haven baby box. Do you know about this?
Oh, yes, I did see this.
So
yes,
this will be the third place in Iowa to have a safe haven baby box, which is where it's a law that was several years ago. A law is parents to surrender an infant up to 90 days old at places like hospitals, police stations, or fire stations. The baby will then be placed up for adoption, and the parent will not be prosecuted. And I think they say that they certainly don't expect this to be used very much, but that it's good. So Windsor Heights has a 24-hour fire department, a 24-hour police department. Someone is always there and can handle it. This was the Knights of Columbus apparently approached the city council about putting this in. The Knights of Columbus are going to raise $25,000 to cover installation costs and training. But yeah, the first one was at Fort Dodge in 2023, and there's another one at Mercy Medical Center downtown Des Moines. So, to the leaders of the Windsor Heights City Council, Police and Fire, good job out of you guys.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So anyway, public-private partnership, getting things done,
yeah,
and hopefully can help save a life or help somebody in a terrible situation.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
I want to try and do that when we see these things. I want to pass along good news from time to time. All right, that's all I got. You told me that was all you have. Sometimes you always have one more in your back pocket, but you're done.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, folks, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends. Pass this along. We need to get people listening to the ITR Live podcast. And with all of that, we will see you next time on ITR Live.